Hello again, everybody. It's Dirk. Oh, just driving along here in beautiful Indiana. Just about to cross over back into Kentucky. I'm going to go over this beautiful old bridge over the Ohio River. Just went over it a few minutes back, going the other direction. So, yeah, this week has been crazy. Running my ass off. Let's see, where did I start off? There's the CB again. I started off, from home, basically, like near Kenosha, Wisconsin, but like on the other side of the border in Illinois. And left home. Let's see, where did I go? I ran down to Joliet, Illinois, to pick up an empty trailer. Picked that up and then ran down to Ottawa, Illinois, to a Tyson facility there, picked up a loaded trailer, and was on my merry way with that one to Louisville, Kentucky. That trailer had two drops, actually. So first one was at a Cisco in Louisville, Kentucky, and they kept me there forever and a day. Unfortunately, it's one of the realities of running reefer and running food products, is that sometimes these warehouses, they want you there on time for their appointment, but then once you're there, you can sit there for all time and eternity. They take their time and get to you when they get to you, and sometimes that's several hours later. So finally got out of there and had to run to my second drop-off, which was in Somerset, Kentucky. And going from Louisville, Kentucky to Somerset, Kentucky, I was going to put that on video, but it was raining like crazy, and it probably wouldn't have come out very well. It was really cool for me, but it wouldn't have come out well on the video. One heck of a beautiful drive. Oh my gosh. Because you go into more of the U.S. highways and the state highways, going through more rural Kentucky, and my God, is it breathtaking. It's just beautiful. All the twisting hills and stuff. It's a little hair-raising to drive, but you just go slow, take your time, watch what the hell you're doing, and it's fine. The views are just spectacular. Finally got into Somerset, and by the time I got there, it was so late. My appointment was for 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got there at closer to 4 almost. And of course, their whole warehouse crew had gone home 15 minutes before I got there. So that's the way it goes. So the gate guard there was super nice, and she pointed me in the direction of a truck stop, which is not easy to find once you're in rural Kentucky. It's not like you're on an interstate where there's truck stops and truck parking everywhere. These are backwoods locations. And most of these Tyson and food service type warehouses, they tend to be in very rural spots. So once you're turned away, if they don't allow you to park on site, it can be quite a trip trying to find a place to park. So, luckily I had plenty of hours on my clock, and she pointed me in the direction of this tiny little marathon truck stop down the road, a couple miles down the road. Gravel lot, kind of a mom and pop place, and they had a spot, so I stayed there, and that was nice. And went back first thing in the morning, and they got me in and got me taken care of. So that was good. And let's see, where did I go from there? Let's see. God, it just all blurs after a while. Then I had to grab a loaded trailer, and I forget exactly where it was. I forget the name of the town, but again, it was another very small town in rural Kentucky, and I was basically doing like a circle tour, like from Louisville, dropping down into the Nashville area. As a matter of fact, I drove pretty much right through downtown Nashville, and with that loaded trailer. And I'm sorry, the name escapes me exactly what town that was. Excuse me. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot here. Hang on. So I took that and ran through Nashville, and then ran out to this tiny little town called Robards, Kentucky, and there is a Tyson facility there, and dropped that loaded trailer. And the guy there, pointed me in the direction of an empty trailer, because I had to grab an empty to take out. And then that would have concluded my day. So this Tyson facility that I went to apparently makes dog and cat food, animal feed products. And I was taking, I think it was chicken or something, some sort of meat in there. But this was the first place that I went to that is actually what they call a kill facility. And it is where they do, bring animals to slaughter. And in this case, it was chickens. And the only reason I knew that was because I saw 3 or 4 trucks heading into that same facility. Basically the flatbed trucks, big 53-foot long flatbed trucks with these chicken coops on them, all tied down. Excuse me, dry throat. And they're all filled with chickens. A couple of them passed me on the highway, and it was kind of sad to me. I mean, I'm an animal lover, so it's not that I'm like some vegan or some crazy animal rights person or anything like that. And no offense if you are a crazy animal rights person, then hey, more power to you. But I kind of temper my love of animals with also the fact that we have to eat. So man's been eating meat since the dawn of time. So there you go. You can agree with that or disagree with that, and that's fine. But at any rate, I'm watching these poor little chickens going, oh man, poor things. But again, what are you going to do? So I just try not to think about it. So I pull in this facility. Excuse me. Drop off this loaded trailer, and as I'm pulling in there, I noticed hundreds and hundreds
2 miles
of
ahead,
birds
ahead as name changes to I-69
flying
South
around in
Parkway.
circles over this plant. I mean, in that picture, this is a giant, factory-looking plant, and these birds are just circling above. And I'm taking a look, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of birds these are. And at first, I thought they were crows. They look kind of black. But I'm looking closer, I'm like, and it's hard to tell when they're in the air. You don't know how far away they are, so it's really hard to gauge their size. And I'm looking at them, and I'm noticing the wings as they're, they have their wings stretched out, and they're catching, adrift in the air. They look more like hawk wings. They have those those trailing feathers off the tips of their wings. I'm like, oh, okay, they must be some sort of hawk or something. Didn't think about it. And I'm driving into this facility, and the security guard is kind of showing me. I have to tail the security guard,
1 mile ahead,
follow
proceed
him
ahead as name changes to I-69
through
South
the plant,
Parkway.
and to where they wanted me to drop the trailer. And as we're making the final turn to the area he wanted me to drop the trailer, I finally figured out what those birds were, because there were hundreds of them walking around on the ground and all over the place. They were vultures. No kidding. I've never seen a vulture before in my life. Maybe I had as a kid at the zoo, but never seen a vulture before. My gosh, they're huge. They're about the size of Canada geese.
0.3 miles ahead,
Big,
proceed ahead as name
big
changes to
birds.
I-69 South Parkway.
Powerful birds. Big, fat legs on them. Actually quite magnificent. I mean, I know that they're kind of associated with the macabre, because they're always circling around dead and dying animals. But put that aside and just look at them for what they are and what nature intended them to be. they're meat-eating birds, and they're opportunists, and they're damn good opportunists. They've honed their skills quite well over the millennia. So, just the smells apparently attract them in. And when you do look at them, I mean, they're pretty magnificent. These are powerful, strong birds. Yeah, so that was a first for me. So for anybody who thought I was kidding, right there, all those birds resting. I didn't want to take any video inside the facility because they don't usually like that. But all those guys right there hanging out on the outside of the entrance of the place, those are all vultures, I think. Buzzards, vultures, something like that. But there are hundreds of them all over the place. Big ass birds. Sorry, I don't know how to work my phone. That's as far as we'll go. Big birdies. Oh, here comes one flying in. Comes a couple flying in. They're having a party. Well-fed birds. So I dropped my trailer, and he says, and this is a normal thing that I'm doing with running reefer loads, is that you do a lot of dropping hooks, and sometimes you're bringing an empty in with you and dropping that and taking a loaded out with you, and sometimes it's actually the opposite. You take a loaded, whatever. Sometimes you're loaded coming in, sometimes you're empty coming in, is the point. It's still 7 o'clock in the morning, so bear with me. So he tells me to hook onto an empty. I hook onto this empty. And did my pre-trip, did all that stuff, and off I go. Well, by that point, my clock's run down is really close to zero. I'm at the limit. So I just quickly found a truck stop close by. I stayed at a Pilot and called it a night. And this morning, woke up at 0 dark 30 in the morning, 3 in the morning, something like that, 4 in the morning. I left there at about 4 in the morning. Excuse me. And the plan was, for my next load, I now have this empty that I got from that kill facility, and my plan was to go to my next pickup, which is in Boonville. I'm not making that up. Boonville, Indiana, and I think it's another Tyson facility, and not too terribly far away. Because Robards is very close to the Indiana-Kentucky border. So the first thing I needed to do, though, is that I knew that this trailer was coming out of that facility, and I have no idea what was in it when it came in. So what is normally standard procedure? You get a trailer washout. You want to make sure you don't cross-contaminate stuff. So I found a Blue Beacon not too far away, about 45 minutes, maybe an hour up north, up in the Evansville, Indiana area. And so that was the plan. I left early this morning in the darkness and drove up to Evansville and pulled into this Blue Beacon as the sun's coming up. And I pull into this wash bay, and as I'm stepping out of my truck, the guys in the back had opened the back doors. Now, I did not look in this trailer because that security guard said, this is an empty, just take it. And I was going to go back there and look into the doors, and he said, no, don't worry about it. He said, they're all checked, just take it, go. I said, okay. So, I'm not going to argue with a guy with a badge and a gun, right? So, anyway, I step out of my truck in this Blue Beacon wash bay, and the guys in the back had just popped the doors open, and I almost fell over from the smell, all the way up at the nose of the truck. It was pretty much instant. It's like, holy crap. It smelled horrendous. And a couple minutes later, I'm in the office with one of the guys, and a couple minutes later, one of the guys comes in from the bay, and he's shaking his head. He's like, we can't get inside this trailer. It's completely infested with maggots. I'm like, lovely. There's a good way to start your day. So I apparently have a maggot-infested trailer, which they can't climb into because they can't breathe. So in order to clean this trailer out, somebody's going to need to put a respirator mask on and go in there with some pretty heavy-duty stuff and kill all this stuff and get it out. So, of course, I understand, you know, I pull out of the Blue Beacon and I'm on the phone right away and I call dispatch and I'm like, now what? What do I do? You know, I basically have two choices. I either A, take this maggot-infested trailer with me all along to Boonville, Indiana, and hope that they accept it there at this Tyson facility. Or I could turn tail and go right back down to Robards, where I got it from, drop the trailer back off with them, and head over to my pickup bobtail without a trailer. And dispatch and the powers that be there decided, you know what, bring that trailer back where you got it from, because we're not going to pull that trailer all the way over to another Tyson facility only to have them refuse you because of the trailer. You know, it's Robards didn't clean it out. They should have cleaned it out, and now they've got maggots. It's their problem, so just bring it right back there. So that's what I'm doing right now, as you're seeing the lovely views of northern Kentucky. Boy, I wish I could have filmed yesterday though, because this right here is pretty much flat land. You're getting into the Indiana kind of landscape. But boy, where I was in yesterday, it was just breathtaking. So hopefully, I mean, I know I'll be back down there again, so I will get that on film. As a matter of fact, I passed by Jim Beam, Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey. There, and it's on this tiny little side highway, and all of a sudden I see this a whole bunch of like really sleek-looking black buildings,
take
kind of nestled up into this little hill, into the rocks and stuff, and
keep right.
It says Jim Beam all over. I'm like, wow, okay, that's where they make Jim Beam. And then as I was driving along, I'm seeing more and more signs for all of these mom and pop distilleries. So obviously that is a part of Kentucky where they make a lot of bourbon whiskey around there, and a lot of, you know, it looked like, when I say mom and pop type stuff, it looked like, you know, kind of like crafted, you know, really kind of high caliber stuff, because these facilities looked really beautiful. I mean, they looked like tourist destinations. And then later on that day, when I was heading down to make that swoop around Nashville, I got onto Kentucky Highway 111, and boy, let me tell you, if you've never driven Kentucky Highway 111, that's a destination. That road was absolutely gorgeous, just a breathtaking drive. And as I'm driving along and I pop into the state of Tennessee, heading down towards Nashville, I see this building off to the left,
on the right,
and it looks really familiar to me, and it turns out I was passing by Fitzgerald. So Fitzgerald Peterbilt, I don't know what town that was in Tennessee, but I watched their YouTube channel. They have a YouTube channel where they do all of their custom Peterbilt 389s, you know, like super expensive custom trucks, and I think, you know, they're just cool as hell. So, and the two guys that are on the channel, they're really, really cool. They're fun to watch, and one of them is a Fitzgerald.
Keep right to Kentucky 416, then take the second left.
And there's the building, and there's like a couple of the trucks that I've seen in their videos. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And if you haven't seen their channel, it's called Semi-Casual. Semi as in semi-truck, and casual. So look that up on YouTube if you want to see some really cool Peterbilt 389 builds. They do a lot of custom stuff. And they do a great job of you know, documenting all of it on video, what they're doing with these trucks. Really, really quite amazing. Anyway, I need to concentrate now, so I'm going to get back to, I'm almost at the facility. I will check back in with you a little bit later when we're on our way on our journey. All right? Talk to you in a bit.
Turn left.
So here I am at a Blue Beacon. It's just around sunrise, and here's some of the stuff you get to see when you drive a truck. Just getting a trailer washout, by the way. But this is kind of funny. This is the kind of stuff that cracks me up about our country. So right here, you got family restaurants. See that? Family restaurant. And then as you pan over, right across the street from family restaurant, you've got, wait, let me see if I can get in there. There it is. Brandy's Exotic Dancers. All right, America. Okay, well, it is now the following day. As you can see, I was at a Blue Beacon car wash, truck wash, I should say, bright and early this morning. The trailer that I have now, thankfully, has no maggots. That trailer I did end up returning to Tyson. They were just fine with it. Obviously they've seen that before, and they know how to deal with it and how to get it clean and all that stuff. So that ended up working out. Left that trailer there and headed over to Boonville, Indiana. No, I'm not making that up. Boonville, Indiana. Look it up on a map. You'll find it. It's an actual town. And went to a cold facility there, picked up a loaded trailer, which is actually the trailer I have right now still on me. And that trailer, we went from Boonville to, where did we go? Gas City. How could I forget that name? Gas City, Indiana. To a Walmart distribution center, a grocery distribution center in Gas City. And they did a live offload of that trailer at Walmart. And gotta say, I've been to two, I think, or three Walmart DCs so far, which is kind of funny because, when I was with Schneider, I pulled out of, I was on the Walmart account, so I pulled out of the Sterling, Illinois grocery distribution center. And so it's interesting now that I'm with Hirschbach, I am basically pulling for vendors into these DCs and seeing what the other Walmart grocery DCs look like and how they operate. And they're all very similar, of course, because they're all Walmart, they're all corporate, but they are different. But I have to say, I was kind of initially thinking, oh gosh, Walmart, you always hear drivers saying, it's almost like they dread going to a Walmart DC, and likely for very good reason. But for me so far, they've been fantastic. I get in, the gate folks are always really nice, tell you exactly what you need to do, you do it. You deal with other folks in the office as far as the paperwork and offload and all that good stuff, and treat them nice and they treat you nice as well, and you're in and out of there. So I haven't had any extended waits yet. Yet being the key word, I'm sure many are thinking. And of course I'm sure that's to come. But so far, they've been great. So got that load taken off of this trailer, kept the trailer. Went and found a little Love's up the road, and spent the night there because I was literally in my last hour of my clock, and ended up finding a spot. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of choices, so I had to grab whatever spot I could fit into, and this was one of those smaller Love's with real tight quarters. And the way they have this thing set up is that the route that they want you to enter in and go through puts the vast majority of the parking spaces at a blindside back in, and a blindside back in very tight quarters. So that was a little hair-raising. Ended up doing fine and getting the trailer where it needed to be, but I tell you what, I wasn't embarrassed or ashamed at all. I got out of this truck probably 10 times and looked exactly what the hell was going on, and the other drivers, there was a line, waiting for me, and they were patient. There was no horn honking, there was none of that, no evil looks, no nothing. And I think it's because they all understood this place was a bitch to park in, and they would be next. So if they found a spot. So it didn't take me that long. It took me probably about 10 minutes. But again, I was being super cautious. I'd go a few feet, I'd pull the brakes, get out, look around again, because it was clearance by inches on multiple points. So that's another thing, you know, as far as anybody who might be listening that or watching that is looking to get into this or is brand new into this, you know, like I am, best piece of advice I can give you, man, don't let situations like that rattle you. If you stay calm, keep your head about you, realize it's one of those deals where it's like everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, right? Nobody was born being a super trucker. Nobody was born knowing how to back up a truck into every single situation, no matter how difficult. It's just not reality. The fact is, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of time to get proficient. And I'm at the point where I'm actually quite proficient. I'm actually quite pleased where I'm at, and I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing, and I'm proving to myself that my estimations of where my tractor and trailer are pretty much dead on when I do get out and look. But still, that said, I'm not going to get overconfident, and I'm going to keep getting out and looking, because when you get overconfident, that's when you're going to hit something. So a little word of advice there. But point though is, you know, everything is possible. You know, there are trucks in there. Those trucks got in there somehow, so there is clearly a way to do it. So when you encounter situations like that, you know, just stay calm, take a deep breath, take your time, give it a good visual scan, and kind of plan in your brain the geometry, and try to picture an overhead view, a helicopter view, as you know, if you were up above looking down, how would your trailer and tractor need to move and swing to get yourself into that space? And when you can do that, that's when you can start executing, and executing well. You set yourself up well when you begin to understand those that geometry. So anyway, woke up this morning. Unfortunately, the spot that I had, I kind of knew it was going to happen, because the spot that I had, you know, was backed in like this. Well, there was a whole row of trucks going this way right in front of me, and of course the last stop is the last space is the last space. Well, you know, come late at night when there's no spaces left, there's going to be 2, 3, 4 other trucks that invent a space, you know, extending out. And sure enough, I look out the nose of my truck this morning, and I've got, you know, maybe a box truck length of space between my nose and broadsiding their truck. You know, so of course when they do that, most drivers are smart enough to know that, shit, this is the only place I can park, so I'm going to be expecting a knock on my window come morning when these guys need to get out. And sure enough, I had to wake up 2 guys, and both of them unrelated, different companies. They didn't know each other, but both of them were Canadians. They were both from Ontario. They're trucking companies, the Doors, Ontario, Canada. And boy, I tell you what, you Canadians, in my experience, it's always the same. The most friendly, polite people on the face of the earth. My God, you know, I'm, you know, knocking on the glass, and the guy comes out, you know, completely asleep, and what, you know, completely out of it. And I said, you know, I'm really sorry really sorry to interrupt you, you know, your sleep and stuff, but you know, I got to get going, and you kind of blocked me in. And he's like, oh, no, I expected that, just as nice as it could be, you know. So I went out and I spotted him so he could back up and just make sure nobody was going to come and hit his trailer. And then the 2 of us went and woke the other Canadian guy up, and he is like, oh yeah, no problem, So, you know, long story short, they both backed up. I could swing out, and I got out. And as I'm swinging out, I look out the side of my window. Both of them are standing next to each other, waving. It's like, all right, guys, thank you. You know, just as nice as can be. I just love Canadians. They're just wonderful people. I have yet to meet an asshole from Canada. They just don't exist. At least I haven't found one. Anyway, so now I'm moving along. We are in Michigan right now. We are on I-94 heading west, and I came up Interstate 69 through Indiana, and let's see, see, I stayed in the Gas City area, which is right off of I-69, and driving up from Gas City to Fort Wayne. My God, there were some storms that came through there, and so far, you know, I've driven in snow, I've driven in rain, I've driven in, you know, quite a few different conditions. And out of all of it, the only thing that has really scared me so far, I mean, and not like scared me like, you know, but, you know, given me pause to think, oh shit, maybe I should pull over and park this thing. Wind. Holy crap, man. When you're empty like I am, and that wind is, you know, I-69 is a north-south, it runs almost dead north-south. So you've got that storm blowing in from the west heading east, of course, and my gosh, my truck was getting broadsided by blasts of wind, something fierce. You know, the speed limit's 65 for trucks, and I was down at one point to almost 45 miles per hour, just because my trailer was getting hammered. I was watching it in the mirrors, and man, it was getting hit. And you know, because these trailers are essentially a gigantic wind sail, and when you have broadside wind like that, especially when they're gusts and just constantly nailing you, boy, you're just all over the road. So you got to really be careful there. And you know, there's two things you can do in that situation when you're getting broadsided and hammered by wind. Number one, first and foremost, is slow the hell down. And a lot of people don't understand the laws of physics. They're thinking, well, the wind's coming from the side, so what does it matter what speed I'm going? Well, it does matter. It matters a great deal. So it might not seem logical or intuitive to some people's brains, but there is a direct correlation between that forward momentum and the ability of that side wind to knock your ass over. So the first thing you need to do is slow the hell down. And if you are feeling too nervous or it's just too much to handle, there's absolutely no shame in getting off at that next exit and shutting down until it stops. If you don't feel comfortable, then, you know, listen to your gut instinct. No load is worth having your truck tipped over and the possible injury or death that could result from that. So, you know, I was on the edge a couple times there. You know, I got blasted by a couple of good ones, and I was, you know, about that close to pulling off the road. But after that second one, it kind of started dying down a little bit, and like I said, I was down to about 45, and you know, I just kind of carefully made my way through it, and then it started to subside, and everything was fine, and then the torrential rain started. But so that was fun. Got through that unscathed. Got a free truck wash, compliments of Mother Nature. Thank you. And we are now en route to, what the hell's the name of the town? I think it was Hudsonville. Hudsonville, I think, Michigan. It's near Grand Rapids, somewhere in the Grand Rapids area. And I'm going to be doing a drop and hook, so I'll drop off this trailer, which is now squeaky clean because we hit the Blue Beacon this morning and got that nice and cleaned up. And when I just fueled about a half hour ago, and the reefer fuel is all filled, which is great. So that's the perfect way you should always leave a reefer trailer when you bring it empty, is to make sure it's clean and make sure that the fuel is all the way up. That's the considerate thing to do for the next driver, and also for the customer, so that when they want to use the trailer, that it's ready to go. Excuse me. So that's all done. I'm going to drop this trailer, pick up a loaded trailer out of Hudsonville, and then from Hudsonville, Michigan, that one is going to the Tyson facility in Rochelle, Illinois, and a place I've been to a few times now, and I'm going to run that down there and drop that trailer. It's a drop, it's not a live unload. And once I drop that trailer, I'm heading home. So this might be it. This might be the wrap up for this week's video. And yeah, just having fun, enjoying this truck. I'm enjoying driving for Hirschbach so far. It's been great. Getting a lot of miles. Pay is great. You know, dispatch basically leaves you alone if you know what you're doing, and you know you're not needing any corrections. You're on your own. I mean, you just do your thing, and you communicate with little messages in the tablet. And the occasional phone call when something's coming up. You know, I'm still new, so there's some things that I still like to, you know, just make sure I'm doing correctly. But other than that, it's pretty hands off. And you know, again, as long as you're doing what's expected, if you're making your deliveries, your pickups and deliveries, and you're being safe, and nothing's happening, it's great. Can't think of anything better. So. Yeah, so that's it, and I'll check in soon again, and we'll catch you on the next one. You guys be good, and above all, be safe, and we'll see you soon. See ya.